Thank you for joining us. My name is Melissa Alvarado from the city's Economic Development Department. Welcome to the Heritage Preservation Grant Awareness Workshop. The Heritage Preservation Grant is managed by the Heritage Tourism Division within the Economic Development Department. The division provides leadership and management for Austin's heritage tourism programs that help create both community and economic benefits. This awareness workshop will provide information about Heritage Preservation Grant funding available for capital, planning, educational, or marketing projects at historically designated sites. Funding for eligible projects is made possible by hotel occupancy tax revenue. During this webinar, we will highlight an overview of the Heritage Preservation Grant Program, applicant and project eligibility, as well as project proposal types, the scoring criteria, and information to stay connected with us. The Heritage Preservation Grant promotes and supports heritage tourism by restoring historic buildings or through planning, educational, and marketing projects at historically designated sites. Projects should help tell inclusive stories on historic places rooted in Austin's history and heritage and promoted to diverse audiences and tourists. State law requires the funding to be used to promote tourism and the convention and hotel industries. It also requires the grants to be awarded to projects that are either in the vicinity of the convention center or in a location within the city reasonably likely to be visited by tourists. The Heritage Preservation Grant is an annual program that offers 2-year grants for historic preservation projects and history-informing activities that promote heritage tourism in Austin. Sites must be zoned non-residential and have grounds that are accessible to the general public to view and appreciate the historic value of the building or site. All projects must be marketed to increase and benefit tourism and expand audiences. Projects must also occur within an Austin City Council district and represent applicants that reside within the Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown metropolitan statistical area, which includes Bastrop, Caldwell, Hayes, Travis, and Williamson counties, with 2-year minimum program experience in the Austin area. Both nonprofit and for-profit applicants that own or lease a historic site are eligible to apply with authorization from the owner. Priorities include outreach to first-time applicants and tourism serving properties listed in the East Austin Historic Survey. Awardees will be eligible for tourism marketing training, and we encourage interpretive plan projects to engage community and tourists through storytelling. Creative collaborations are also highly encouraged. Project proposals must occur or promote a historically designated site, or the site must be eligible for historic designation. Detailed project bids from outside consultants must be submitted for each proposed activity. A match is not required for this program. The selection process includes both interdepartmental and external panel reviews for all projects. Capital projects must also be reviewed and approved by the Architectural Review Committee and the Historic Landmark Commission. Applicants may now include an optional $1,000 fiscal sponsor fee and insurance fees. Capital projects may include a 10% project management fee not to exceed $10,000 as part of the funding request. Capital and educational contract awards can vary from $15,000 to $250,000. Planning and marketing contracts are eligible for awards not to exceed $30,000. Due to restrictions on the funding source for this program, ineligible project costs include but are not limited to some of the following expenses: capital projects that do not meet the Secretary of Interior's standards for the treatment of historic buildings or local historic design standards; proposals at city-owned historic sites that have not been pre-approved through the Parks and Recreation Department and their Community Activated Park Projects program; projects with no written authorization from the owner; fundraising expenses, staff salaries, or administrative costs; new building construction or expansion projects; owner-occupied properties or historic residential properties; preservation, heritage, and historic projects not associated with a historic site. Projects with no historic designation are ineligible for historic designation are also ineligible for the program. Property taxes or any other taxes are also ineligible expenses. Please visit our website to review the application guide and a complete list of ineligible and eligible projects. Eligible capital projects include rehabilitation or restoration of the building envelope, accessory structures, and grounds. Capital projects, again, must meet the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties. The site must also have a historic designation or be eligible for a designation. And capital projects must also be reviewed and approved by the Architectural Review Committee and the Historic Landmark Commission. Some capital project examples include roof repair, facade elements, repair or restoration of doors, wooden windows or trim, and wood and masonry projects. Eligible planning projects include professional preservation planning expertise in areas such as preservation, architecture or engineering, or historic research and nominations for tourism-serving sites. Again, planning projects must meet the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties. And some common examples of planning projects include cultural landscape preservation plans, heritage tourism assessments, interpretive plans, or a consultant for historic designation nominations, if eligible. Educational projects must actively create experiences for tourists to interact with places, events, or activities that authentically represent the stories and people of the past and enhance the understanding or perspective on heritage, community, and history. Educational projects must be like all other projects in that it has a historic designation and is marketed to increase or benefit tourists. Examples of eligible project types include tour development, including historic, heritage, legacy, natural resources, exhibitions, programs or demonstrations, conferences, workshops, technical assistance programs, and events hosted and occurring at historic designated sites or within historic designated districts. Marketing projects must actively connect and market Austin's heritage and history. Projects should tell stories related to underrepresented histories, historic places, or events. Examples of eligible marketing projects include brochures, maps, guides, itineraries, or material translation, in addition to web enhancement or digital projects that are focused on exploring the historic record and marketing that to tourists, or heritage tourism marketing videos, social media, or campaigns. Scoring criteria for the Heritage Preservation Grant includes preservation impact, maximum score 36 points, historical, architectural, and/or historic cultural significance of the historic building, site, district, and project, a clear description of the specific preservation-related work and use of funds, a description of any threat or endangerment to the site, property, or collection, a clear description of long-range goals. This applies for capital and planning projects only. A description of an applicant's commitment to diversity of historically underserved and underrepresented communities through programming, marketing, administration, or other efforts. This applies to educational and marketing projects only. Tourism impact. Maximum score, 32 points. The applicant should describe the target audiences and marketing plan that will be used to promote the Heritage Tourism Project to attract new and diverse audiences and tourists, and provide information on what visitor data will be collected to measure the success of the marketing strategies and how success will be measured. Accessibility and local impact. Maximum score, 16 points. The Heritage Preservation Grant will prioritize first-time applicants. Applicants with less access to preservation-related technical services or expertise will also be prioritized. Applicants will be asked to describe partnerships with community collaborators and where a project reflects community voice and participation. Historic sites listed in the East Austin Historic Survey as being historic or recommended eligible for designation will also be prioritized. Project management, budget, and bids. Maximum score, 16 points. The applicant should clearly describe the experience, qualifications, skills, and bios of the project team with a designated project manager. A completed project budget with preservation funding priorities ranked from highest to lowest with associated cost is required. All projects must submit detailed project bids from outside consultants. Bids for capital projects must indicate how the project meets the Secretary of Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties and include details on proposed materials and methods. We want to stay connected with you to offer additional information or resources, however helpful. For questions about the application or a proposal idea, please attend our virtual open office hours, offered the second and fourth Tuesday of each month from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. with no appointment necessary. Or visit us at our website at austintexas.gov/heritage-preservation-grant to access the Heritage Preservation Grant Application Guide, to review eligibility information, to find a list of historic research resources and portal registration support, plus see a copy of all grant application questions in advance. Register early and create a portal profile. To apply, complete the online application and upload all required attachments in portal. It is highly recommended that applicants draft responses in a separate document. Save your work as you proceed through the online application and do not leave any fields blank. Online applications are due at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Online applications are due at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on September 22nd, 2023. Thank you for watching this presentation about the Heritage Preservation Grant, and good luck with your application.